If you want to know whether you have a chance to get rich, just say the word money. Everything else your brain will tell you, through breathing, impulses, and chemical flashes. Money is not numbers, it is a reaction. And if you can control that reaction, you control your future. And behind all this lies not chance, but a pattern that few people realize. Money goes where the brain knows how to hold it. Every human action, a purchase, a risk, an agreement, a step into the unknown, is born from a short, almost imperceptible moment. Even before we realize that this will be better, the brain has already decided everything. In those fractions of a second, neural networks analyze billions of signals: experience, fear, expectation, past failures, others' reactions. And if inside you lives the belief that big money is dangerous, the brain instantly slows down the impulse. It whispers, "Don't risk it, you'll regret it later." And you feel a slight doubt, and the chance slips away. That's how the brain's prediction system works. It was not created to make you rich, but to make you survive. While some earn, others think in categories of protection. Save, hold on, don't lose. But neuroscience has long known when the fear center, the amygdala, is active, the frontal lobes responsible for creativity and problem-solving shut down. This means you can be smart and talented, but if your brain is in danger mode, it will not allow you to see new opportunities. Wealth is not created through struggle. It appears when the instinct for growth becomes stronger than the instinct for fear. Successful people don't just know more, their brains work in a different rhythm. Their neural architecture is arranged differently. Instead of an instant fear response, they activate curiosity. They perceive uncertainty not as a threat, but as an invitation to play. And this is not just a character trait, but a trained neural habit. Scientists call this cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift focus from the problem to the possibility. Every time a person chooses out of interest rather than fear, new connections grow in the brain, and the growth mode becomes habitual. If you remove emotion and look at money through the lens of neurophysiology, you get an amazing picture. The brain learns to handle money the same way it learns driving, music, or a language. Repetition builds mastery, and mastery turns into confidence. But most people train the opposite. They rehearse anxiety, scarcity, doubt every day. Each such thought strengthens a network in which money is associated with tension. And the brain tries to avoid what causes stress. It literally pushes opportunities away if they are linked to an unpleasant inner feeling. Therefore, the main step toward wealth is not to learn how to earn, but to reprogram the brain's perception of money. Most brilliant business ideas were born not at negotiation tables, but in moments of relaxation. In the shower, on a walk, alone. Why? Because that's when the default network, the wandering mind, switches on. It connects unrelated pieces of experience into a new combination. That's how insight is born. When a person releases pressure, the brain finally gets the freedom to unite what was once separate, and the idea that seemed sudden is, in fact, the result of long invisible neural work. Inside the brain, electrical signals move through neural pathways at speeds up to 300 kilometers per hour. Each impulse is a tiny discharge carrying information about what matters to you. If attention is focused on lack, the brain amplifies everything connected to lack. If attention is focused on possibility, it amplifies the search for possibilities. No wonder neuroscientists say, the brain doesn't care what you believe. It simply amplifies what you focus on. You may notice, once you seriously think about something, you start seeing it everywhere. You buy a new car, and now the same ones appear on every street. You decide to start a business, and suddenly, everyone around is starting one too. This is not coincidence, but the work of the reticular activating system, RAS, a neural filter that shows your brain only what matches your inner focus. RAS doesn't ask whether you like it or not. It simply executes the command, show what you consider important. That's why if a person constantly thinks about debts, he notices only debts. And if he thinks about opportunities, he suddenly sees a chance others missed. When a new goal appears, 3 zones in the brain activate: the prefrontal cortex plans, the hippocampus retrieves past experience, the basal ganglia create the habit of action. If this trio works in sync, the person feels inspiration and confidence. If they are out of sync, procrastination appears. Wealthy people rarely get stuck in analysis because their neural chains are trained to move quickly from idea to action. The brain doesn't hesitate, it's trained to move. Focus on one idea related to money, not the goal, but the feeling. For example, I feel calm when I create value. Breathe evenly and gently. On the inhale, possibility. On the exhale, calmness. Imagine a soft light glowing in the center of your head. Each inhale strengthens this light, and it seems to spread through your body. Don't think about amounts. The focus is not on money, but on the state of confidence and freedom. After a few minutes, you'll feel how inner tension starts to fade. This means the amygdala is calming down, and the prefrontal cortex is taking control again. From that moment, you can once again see opportunities. When a person feels calmness and curiosity at the same time, the brain releases dopamine and acetylcholine, the molecules of attention and learning. They strengthen the connections between neurons responsible for a new behavior model. Thus, a neural map of success is formed, a structure that makes the right decisions feel natural. After 21 to 40 days of regular practice, the brain begins to operate on a new level. Attention automatically gravitates toward ideas that lead to results. Research in neuroeconomics shows when making financial decisions, the brain evaluates not numbers, but emotional consequences. We choose not what's profitable, but what feels safe. That's why it's important that the word money is associated not with anxiety, but with confidence. When that association changes, the brain automatically shifts its strategy. It begins to look not for how not to lose, but for how to create. And that's the point where growth begins. Thoughts don't materialize through magic. They simply control where you direct the energy of your brain. And where attention goes, action follows. Where action goes, results appear. So money is not born from luck, but from an internal algorithm. The brain creates itself once it stops fearing opportunities. Money doesn't come to those who want it, but to those whose brain is already ready to receive it. Because wealth is not a goal. It's a state of consciousness that no longer resists abundance.